Good morning. It's August 12th, and we're in Psalm 32 today. And this is a psalm of forgiveness and for confession and for repentance. And I think it's really helpful for us to have something like this from David. He talks about confessing his sins to the Lord and actually talks about the process before confessing, where he is wasting away and his bones are groaning all day long. And that is certainly, I think, the experience of those who have something weighing on their conscience, a guilty conscience, and experiencing that guilt and shame that comes with that. So I love that he says, "Then I acknowledged my sin to you and did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord." And why not, right? Because the Lord knows those things anyway. You're not telling him anything he doesn't know, and you're certainly not surprising him with those things. So keeping it from him is certainly irrational, but sin is irrational. And so then he talks about the relief that comes from that and from having forgiveness. He says, verse 6, "Therefore, let all the faithful pray to you while you may be found." And it's not that God hides from us, but sometimes our sin keeps us from him, and he is harder to find because we are less willing to find him. Just like Adam and Eve hid in the garden from him, as if that is possible, we also tend to hide from God when we have something that we need to deal with him. And but he says, verse 7, "You are my hiding place." That's something we sing or used to sing quite a bit. "You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance." So a helpful psalm that we sing at times to refresh our souls. And that's the case, that God is somebody we can go to, that he is a safe place for those things we can confess and be right, be made right by him. Like I like verse 9 too. It says, "Do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by bit and bridle, or they will not come to you." And God will use those things if he has to bring us back to himself, because he is gracious in that way. But better to come without all of that pain and suffering that comes from a bit and a bridle, being brought to that place where we have to obey. And then verse 11 finishes it all up. "Rejoice in the Lord and be glad, you righteous. Sing, all you who are upright in heart." Talks about that heart that is freed from the guilt and shame of sin and brought to repentance and righteousness again. And that is a joyful place to be. So confession of sin is freeing from that. And it's good that God is eager to forgive. So a great psalm of David that's been around for thousands of years and is as true today as it was when it was written.